Okay, we're live, Steve.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Start the Hamlin Conservation Advisory Board at this time. The exits are on either end of the building. The handicap exit is on the right-hand side, and there is an AED right across from the doorway from the meeting room. Carol, could you please call the roll?
Janine Clark. Here. Steve Rutherford.
Here.
Carrie Whipple. Here. Louis Stevenson. Here.
Okay, we've all had a chance to look at the minutes. Are there any amendments to the minutes? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move to approve. I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion's carried. Janine, can we have the planning board
Yes, you can.
report, please?
Planning board meeting on Monday, February 6th was quite a long meeting. There are quite a few things on the agenda. The first thing on the agenda was a commercial site plan modification. The application was Michael Boss, owner of the property, Pete Kruger, 47 King Street. Michael Boss has a trucking business known as Boss Diesel Service LLC at 47 King Street. It's in the commercial general business zoning district. Last month he was in and he did have a diesel fuel tank in an alleyway between two buildings. So he did have the 1,000-gallon diesel fuel tank removed and relocated to a building parking lot on the other side of 74 King Street. He, as requested, he submitted a short EAF form, EAF meaning Environmental Assessment Form, along with a detailed letter of intent. He mentioned that he has 9 vehicles in his fleet, and no regular maintenance is done on the property. Per the attorney's suggestion last month, the owner of the property had submitted a site plan. There were no negative comments from the board. He was scheduled a public hearing on March 6th. Second thing on the agenda was Jeremy Bauer at 53 King Street, same property owner, Pete Kruger. He was seeking a commercial site plan modification. He has a small engine repair and motorcycle storage business. Again, it's in the same district, the commercial general business zoning district. She's only working on small engines, ATV repair shop, no trucks or cars are repaired. We also submitted the short EAF along with a detailed letter of intent as requested last month. There were no negative comments from the board, so he was scheduled a public hearing for March 6th. The next item on the agenda was Karen Unterborn. She has purchased a 50-foot by 290-foot strip of land from the Young Irrevocable Trust, which is adjacent to her property, and she'd like to merge it into her own residential property. It was mentioned that there's, I believe this is the one that have wetland on the property, but there's not going to be any development, so there's no concerns there. It's a type 2 seeker, so this application to merge this property, I believe the property merged lot line adjustment, and that application was granted. The next few items on the agenda were all related to the same proposal. Steve Delano at 2431 Brick Schoolhouse Road is proposing to subdivide his 20.1 acre parcel into 2 code compliant lots. He now currently lives in the lot that's right off the street, but he wants to create a second lot further into the property. The address that will be right now is a proposed address. It won't be valid until the entire project is filed with the Monroe County. But when it is, and it's issued a tax account number, it will be called 2435 Brick Schoolhouse Road. And lot 2 will contain an existing home, which will share use of the existing driveway with lot 1. So a proposed easement is reflected. The plan is, Mr. Delano proposes to sell his existing home to his daughter and then to build a new home for he and his wife behind the existing dwelling. This was scheduled a public hearing for March 6th. And then, in addition to that, for this particular proposal, he's also presenting, he's trying to get a residential preliminary and final single lot subdivision to build his house. But it's the same issues. There'll be a common driveway and easement is required. The fire marshal needs to review the plans and report as far as whether we have accessibility by emergency vehicles. So even this part of the proposal is going to be on public hearing for March 6th. There was a Mylar re-signing was one of the items on the agenda. Next item was a conservation corridor development permit for Frank Sassone, 6596 Shore Acres Road. He wants to install a generator in his park. This would be within 100 feet of the lake. We've looked at it, Cheryl's looked at it, I've looked at it. He's it's in a safe location, more than 5 feet from doors, windows, vents, so on. So this application was granted. It is a type 2 action. There was also a discussion. Debbie and Gary Dean at 1138 Peck Road came in, and they were requesting advice on whether or not their subdivision is still valid, or if they require a new site plan. The subdivision was approved in 1995, but then nothing was done at that point. So they were wondering if it would require reapproval. And at this point, the lawyer, the attorney, suggested the best option for them was to contact a real estate professional for advice. There was some discussion at the end of the meeting. Town council person Phil Hurlbut was there, and he said that the battery storage law will soon be added to the code, and the farmland protection plan is waiting for signatures to be obtained to get grant. And the town engineer noted that the lakefront sewer project is progressing, and he's also working with the Department of State on the LWRP rewrite. It has been turned in, and there were just a few issues that still need to be worked out. There was an ongoing discussion about 1668 Redmond Road for a farm labor camp for Brightly Farms. This has received all approvals that were required from the zoning board. And it has received the Department of Health signature for approval. So this will also be a public hearing, scheduled for a public hearing on March 6th. And that was the end of that long meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Attended the Monroe County Fish Advisory Board. We met at the Reese Library, in one of their boardrooms there, and we will meet there again next meeting. Currently, our meeting site at the Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office is undergoing renovations right now, so we can't use that place right now. Few things came up. One of the things is our budget. Again, we've got to go to the powers that be in Monroe County. Our 2023 budget $4,000. And our expenses are currently about 5,400. And most of that goes in for the digital advertising and brochures and social media, which isn't leaving any room for us to do any type of things for the kids in Monroe County, such as the fishing derbies. We usually have 2 a year, and usually buy a lot of fishing poles and different stuff to give away. And currently there are no funds to do any of that. Right now we're not scheduled to go do any of the sports shows in Ohio or Pennsylvania this year, just because we don't have enough staff to go around to support them. We desperately need members on the board. So if anybody knows of anybody that wants to be an official advisory board or an at-large member or a secretary, we need a secretary. You can contact me.
Are those paid positions or is it?
They are not paid positions.
It's all voluntary?
No, they are not paid positions. There's different things that are going on out on the lake currently right now, and the federal government's taking a very good look at where we can put reef systems to get lake trout to spawn naturally. And the last thing we talked about, Stacy Frugal from Michigan Sea Grant. We'll be hosting seminars for charter captains. And right now there's no locations or dates or times for any of that. And that pretty much wrapped everything up for the Fish Advisory Board. For the EMC meeting, Kevin Farrell from the Land Stewardship Association that does the Genesee River, well, they look at the Genesee River and see where they can help the farmers and stuff with erosion, basically, and the loss of farmland due to erosion. And they've been successful in quite a few areas. One of the other things we talked about was everybody needed to go back and look at their open space areas for their towns and see what areas we have open where we could put in lots for children education, such as planting small gardens and things like that, playgrounds, etc. But that was one of the things that they suggested that we do. Let's see here. The other thing that we looked into was the City Nature Challenge. That's right. Run by Kate McArdell. There is an application, and they're currently trying to get up in there a organization, and they're looking for a COO for people to join that nature challenge. There's training at the zoo. They decided that we are going to take a in-depth look at Article 47, state law, to see where the ECM board fits in, what we're supposed to have control over, what we're supposed to be looking at. And they formed a new committee to do that. I'm currently on the wetlands committee. So, but that was newly established. So if anyone wants to come in and hop on that bandwagon, you're more than welcome to do so. Other than that, that was about the end of the ECM meeting. And right now, Clark isn't here for the town board meeting, so we'll go right over to Lewis from the zoning board.
Okay, the zoning board was a long one too, February 21st. The first thing was an area variance for James and Jenny Lynch at 1360 Lake Road. They want chickens on their lot that's less than an acre. They have about a 0.4 acre lot. They want 6 chickens with no roosters. So a public hearing was scheduled for March 20th for that.
How many chickens?
They want 6 chickens.
Yeah, well, they have to have at least 6.
The town code says
State law.
10 chickens are allowed on a lot of 1 acre, so they want 6 and 0.4 acre. The next one was an area variance for Nathan and Amy Smith, 6984 Benedict Beach Road. They want to construct a pole barn in the rear yard that's going to have a height of 21 feet, where the maximum height of an accessory structure is 15 feet. So public hearing was scheduled for that as well. Next was a coastal erosion hazard area permit for Mary Jo Beers at 7646 Newco Drive. She wants to install additional riprap along Lake Ontario shoreline. About 167 linear feet of armor put on the lakefront. The DEC's already approved it, so they also approved it and referred it to the planning board for a conservation corridor development permit. Next one is similar, coastal erosion hazard area permit for Brian Donovan at 5910 Westwood Beach Road to add an additional 30 feet of armor stone for bank stabilization. The Department of State has submitted an approval of it that is consistent with the LWRP. The DEC has also approved that one, so the zoning board also approved it. Next one is an accessory use variance for Keeler Construction at 1700 Moscow Road. They would like to mine an additional 10.32 acres of the existing gravel mine there. So there's some for that, and so they scheduled a public hearing for March 20th. The next one was an area variance alteration for Thomas Van at 179 Church Road, which we've talked about a couple of times over the last few months. They want to split the lot, and so the lot would be less than the minimum of 2 acres. So the lot would be 0.9 acres, and then they also want to make it smaller than the minimum width. So the minimum width is 250. This would be 130 feet. So it was part of it was like a paperwork issue. It seems like they meant to write something that they didn't, so it was a minor change, lot size change, they didn't approve that. And yeah, that was it.
All right, thank you very much. Janine, do we have anything from the Friends of Hamlin Beach?
Actually, I do not. The first meeting of the season will be in March.
All righty.
Should have something for the next meeting.
Is there any zoning workshop report?
Yes, we worked on battery storage.
Battery storage.
Yep, and then cleaned up the current code for fences and noise.
So there's public hearings on those, aren't there?
Yep, it's just they're coming up, I think, the 13th.
I think I saw it in the newspaper.
For fences, you say?
For
It had
fences
to do with
also.
barbed wire, didn't it?
And with barbed wire. Yes, where barbed wire is allowed. We have barbed wire now, like at cell towers
Sure.
and things like that in order to keep people out for their own safety.
Yeah.
So they cleaned that up a little bit and battery storage. I learned, I always try to say I learn something new every day. I learned that because we have someone who wants to put in a solar roof, a Tesla solar roof, and it's 160. They
Wow.
want to have battery storage in the garage and it's not allowed. So we all learned something that night. Not allowed in the garage. They have to store it outside with placards on your house. The firemen so they stay away. Because they're lithium batteries. They're dangerous. But yes, they just cleaned up, did the new battery storage because we had a moratorium for 6 months and we were running late on time. And that was it.
Alrighty, just for information, our trees for the giveaway, our annual giveaway have been ordered. And, when it gets close to that date, I will go pick them up.
I saw something interesting. I forgot to bring that with me, but last year we had white pine and balsam fir transplants, which are larger and have a more substantial root system. And this year I noticed the transplant balsam and Colorado blue are the transplants. The others are just seeds.
Thank you.
So just thought that was interesting because a lot of people like the Colorado blue.
Alrighty, can I have a motion to, adjourn this portion of the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting.
And moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, we'll move right into the Hamlin Waterfront Committee with the same members present. Do we have any referrals?
I did one inspection at 7646 Maple Drive. And this was the addition of more riprap at the lake shore. I believe it's the one that Lois mentioned that needed the CHOP permit. And it is consistent and going out and seeing it, it's definitely necessary. Neighbors have protection and there's been a lot of the original protection was baby ends, and you can see that the baby ends are just falling apart. And so there really is practically no protection. So this is really necessary and it is consistent.
Alrighty. Anyone have anything else for the Hamlin Waterfront Committee? Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Move the second, we adjourn the meeting, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, hearing none, so carried.
Oh, are we adjourning the total meeting?
Total meeting,
Okay, Janine, Bob,
Yes.
Steve Rutherford,
aye.
Carrie Whipple,
Yes.
Louis Stevenson.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all set?
We're all set.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's very slick out there.
Yeah.
Have a very